Hello, and welcome to another edition to Bergen Stages Television, our entertainment magazine here at Bergen Community College. I'm Jim Bumgardner, your host. Currently over on the east side of campus in Interhall Lab Theater, we're in rehearsal for a wonderful Neil Simon comedy called Barefoot in the Park. And what better way to talk about that show than with two of the stars from the show, Matthew DeMarco and Emma Margie. Margie. I'm not going to get this right. Margie. I got it right. Good, good. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Rehearsal's going well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of late nights?
Yeah, not really. I mean, surprisingly not.
Oh, good.
It's been pretty,
yeah.
I don't know, lenient. We were productive, but I mean, for the most part, we're not being driven crazy.
But clearly, right along.
We're getting
Well, we'll talk about the show in a little bit, but I want to get to know you guys a little bit more before we talk about your roles here. So, Emma and I know each other because I directed you last year in Guys and Dolls as one of our Hotbox girls, and I think you were prostitute number 2, something wonderful like
hooker.
That. Hooker number 2. And what brought you to Bergen? How did you get to us?
Well, I originally went to the American Musical Dramatic Academy after I graduated high school, and just the school itself wasn't the best fit for me, so I had to leave, but I obviously wanted to get an education. So I came to Bergen, and it was, I honestly believe, the best decision I made in my life.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. And you're a theater major?
I'm a theater major.
Theater acting major?
Acting,
Oh,
yes.
cool, cool, cool. Good. Well, we'll talk about your program now. Now, Matthew, you are a music major or are you a theater major?
Yes, music tech.
Okay, music tech.
Yes.
Even though you play so well, you're still gone into the tech.
Yeah.
So what got you to Bergen?
I guess it was kind of more of just because once I was starting to wrap up high school, I wasn't really keen on knowing exactly what direction I wanted to head into, so I figured that Bergen, you know, in terms of saving money and kind of just getting my feet wet, that this was kind of just the best option for me, you know, and clearly it has been so far.
And that's the best plug for the college, is sometimes that's what we're there for.
Oh, yeah.
We're there to say, hey, you know, while you're deciding, just take some of these core courses
Absolutely.
and maybe some of the stuff you're interested in. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Dumont High School.
Good. And did you do music at Dumont?
Not so much. It's always been more of a side thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I haven't really gotten to partake in anything music-wise, like during school, until I actually started at Bergen. Where I actually started getting more involved with the program. So.
And I have to say, I saw you last night doing a little Pink Floyd for us at the concert, and it was just outstanding. Vocally, you're so great, and I'm upset that you're not in the musical this year. But you couldn't do both. So. But good. What a great job. Did you have fun doing the concert?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Carl Restivo just seemed such a nice
he was
guy,
so cool.
so wonderful and a giving guy. But then when you guys got up and rocked out with him, it was like you guys have been together as a band for years. It was just so nice.
Yeah.
But what an incredible voice you have.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
And you did some backup singing with his.
Yeah, that was very. I mean, you know, we had a lot of time to kill prior to the show, so it was kind of just like, you know, how you know, what can we really do to enhance the show as much as possible. So it's kind of like, hey, you know, I like your voice. I heard you sing. You want to
do some backup?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And so, yeah, so that was a very last minute kind of thing to do.
But kind of a rock music kind of thing. It's like, let's throw this puppy together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a very, I mean, you know, we definitely spent some time, you know, getting everything together, making sure that we're prepared. But then there were some parts where we were kind of like, hey, you know, why don't we try this like differently or whatever? Let's, you know, see how this works. And Carl was such a big help. He got everyone getting really hyped for the show and actually, you know, feel really good with ourselves and the show in general.
Cool.
So
That's great. Good.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Emma, where did you go to high school?
I went to Rutherford High School.
Rutherford. Did you do theater there?
I originally, I always loved theater, but when I first went to high school, I did track and cross country.
Yeah, really?
I was the sporty gal.
Uh-huh.
And then my junior year, I got back into theater, and that was the best thing ever. And that's when I really decided, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
And what were your races? What did you tend to run?
Oh, I did.
Distance or short?
I did both. Well, I did cross country, so I did distance, and then I did the 400s and high jump. I loved high jump.
Cool, that's cool.
That's cool.
Neat. So you didn't do any theater at all?
I did.
Yeah, what shows did you do?
I did Midsummer Night's Dream,
Oh, cool.
Beauty and the Beast, Almost Maine, and High School Musical.
Wow, so you squeezed a lot between track and doing theater. You had
Yeah.
no life whatsoever.
Exactly.
Matthew, did you do any theater while you were in?
Yeah. I mean, I've done ensemble work like in high school, but not so much because I wasn't really happy with the situation in terms of the theater department at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
But I did a lot of theater work, outside of high school. I've done a lot of community theater. I've went to check out what else is out there.
Out in the area, community theater?
Yeah,
in
like
this
I've done a few shows with Bergen County players.
Sure, yeah, great.
I mean, at one point, like my senior year, I actually transferred to Leonia High School, and I did a show there for a little bit.
What did you?
It was, I mean, it was a show called Game of Tiaras.
Okay, don't know it, but okay.
It was yeah. I could actually talk about that, but it was just. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely have gotten, theater's always been something I've always kind of just done when I had the time for it, and just when I felt like, this looks fun.
A fun hobby as opposed to
it's never been something I was really. I mean, if there was the opportunity to pursue it, maybe I'd consider it. But I mean, it's the same with this show. Is kind of seeing like, hey, why not?
Yeah, you're here. That's what college
here.
is all about. Is
Yeah.
trying all this stuff. So I'm glad you brought that up because we don't have a lot of music majors here on the show. So what does a music tech major have to do here at the college? What is your curriculum like?
I mean, a lot of it is I originally started off taking a lot of audio engineering stuff. I've kind of gotten to know a lot of the behind the scenes, I guess, in terms of the production.
Which means, just for our audience, audio engineering is the person.
It's like your mixer, your producers, the people that are kind of behind the mixing board, just making you sound good.
So the band is up there, or the singer's up there, and then you guys tweak it to
make
this
it can be like
balanced,
it can be in a live setting. It could be like in a studio if you're recording with an artist or a band or whatever. But that was something I kind of wanted to get more into and get more involved in, because that's just something I want to know for myself, for my own benefit, because I identify myself more as a songwriter, as a performer, as a composer. So I kind of just want to get the best of all worlds.
I think that's great to know tech as well. To even though you're a performer, to kind of know so that you're in there mixing your own album, you're going to figure out what you need.
Yeah, I can be able to rely on myself for certain things.
And then you take core courses too. You take math and sciences and all those.
Presently,
kind of
I haven't really.
Eventually, you will.
Eventually, I'll have to. I've just kind of been putting them off.
Doing the music more.
Yeah.
At this point, just kind of where you're interested. And you have an AS degree. Is it AS or an
AFA?
AFA.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Good. Nice degree. And what year are you?
Well, I took a semester off for. So this is my 4th semester here.
Okay, good. I feel like I've seen you 100 times, but
you're probably going to see more of me, to be honest. I'm kind of just taking it as I go here. I'm not in any rush to really get out of here.
We're no rush to get rid of you either.
That's good.
So Miss Emma, you're a theater major, an acting major.
Yes.
Now we have a separation. We have acting, we have tech, we have dance, and we have a general theater major, but you're the acting major. And listening to what Matthew says, you have to do tech as well. You have to learn tech, right? You've done that, or are you doing it this?
I haven't taken tech yet, actually.
So it's stagecraft and lighting that you'll get involved in, knowing all the behind the scenes, how to build the set, how to hang lights. Kind of makes you humble to realize there's a lot of people that make you do.
There's so much that goes into a production.
Yeah. So what have you been taking?
Well, currently I've been getting just like my general core classes in. Like, I'm taking psychology, English. I'm taking an acting techniques here, which is my fun class, I think. So
good. So you take all those core, and then we know. What are you thinking about doing once you're done here? Should I ask that yet?
Well, I'm trying to take things day by day, but I'm currently I'm in Barefoot in the Park. I'm in a production now, but when I'm not in a production here, I'm out doing auditions, hoping to get jobs, like potentially paying jobs, which I have in the past, but it's definitely not consistent. It's difficult.
It's hard to do while you're in school.
Yeah.
It's like as much as you want it, and then you're going to get offered this great thing. Go, well, what do I do? Do I finish the degree, or do I go off and do this? And of course, you're saying to yourself, I'm going to go off and do this.
Yeah.
School's there. So that's always such a challenging time to figure out which to do there. So.
Yeah.
So you're thinking finish the degree here and then not continue at another school.
That's something I'm like, I really want to get an education. Just in general, I want to be very.
So you and I will talk then later.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about all the options that are out there. Good.
But I definitely still want to be working.
Good. And you're liking the courses you're taking, the classes that you've
Yes.
taken? Oh, good. Awesome. Good. So, but you guys would never be. Well, you could be in classes together because of the gen ed stuff when you get into.
I do want
the
to take a few music courses.
Oh, great.
So.
And there's that opportunity to mix some of these courses with some of your free electives
Yeah.
to be able to do all that kind of stuff. So suddenly at the beginning of this semester, you saw an ad up there or a poster said auditions for Barefoot in the Park. What made you, Matthew, interested in saying, did you know that play? Did you know anything about Barefoot?
I mean, I knew who Neil Simon was. I love The Odd Couple. The actual show itself, no. Yeah, I don't know. It was a very on the flims kind of thing, I guess. It was, I had just started classes probably the day of the second day of auditions, because I barely made the deadline to get my classes in. So it was I was probably leaving like my class at like 5 o'clock, and I saw that there were auditions in 2 hours for Barefoot in the Park. So I was kind of like, maybe I'll, why not?
Total fluke then. You just
exactly.
kind of went in there and just said, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm here.
whatever.
I'm
Like,
here, whatever.
I'll do like a quick like synopsis and see what the show's about.
Oh, well, good. At least you did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I wanted to know what I was like in for.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, I don't know. It was kind of just like you said, it was just why not?
And I think you kind of said it's Neil Simon. You already knew Neil Simon. So you kind of trust Neil Simon. He's got great stuff.
Oh
out
yeah,
there,
no,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so you know the writing's going to be wonderful.
It was going to be on point. So
Yeah,
I wasn't worried about that.
And Emma, what got you to audition for this?
Well, actually, when I did Guys and Dolls last year, I was talking to Elliot, who was in the show, and also a teacher here, and he goes, "They're doing Barefoot in the Park next year," and I was like, "I don't know what that is." And he's like, "Well, I think you'd make a great Corey Browder."
See, we're both doing the
we're yeah. And I was like, "Oh, cool. I have no idea what that means." And so then, as I saw the list of the shows they were going to do this year, and then auditions started coming up closer, I went to the library and I took out the collection of Neil Simon and I read it, and I was like, "This is a really awesome piece."
Great, good.
Yeah, and I really wanted to audition for it.
And so you had months of preparation, and Matthew, well, I got nothing.
Quite, yeah.
It's really kind of cool. I mean, it's so neat to come in from two different directions, and a lot of people feel like they need to over-prepare or don't feel prepared enough to even come to the audition. It was great to say, you know what, I'll see what happens. I don't have to do so. And so you got to the auditions, and Ken Bonifant was there, and how did you audition? What kind of stuff did you do?
It was a group of us. A group of 7 of us would go in because every scene has like more than one person, so he would just throw people in there and read for different parts.
So you didn't have to come in with a monologue or anything. You just
no, yeah, exactly, yeah. And otherwise, I probably wouldn't have bothered.
And I think that's a lot of people that way too.
It was a cold read.
So cold read is fun, and then you get to do it over and over again, hopefully, so that you get to practice. Did you guys get to read with each other?
No,
No.
I auditioned the first day.
Yeah, I was
You
the
came the
second,
second day.
yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to come back and talk more about Barefoot in the Park. So Matthew and Emma will be right back with me. We'll talk about Barefoot in the Park and what's going on to get us to opening night. So come right back.
My poetry is about viewing the world as I saw it as a young man, and down through the ages I continued to write verse. I used that as a creative expression, but it also helped me through life because I could address certain issues, certain feelings, and certain appreciations. I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak, and suddenly I realized I was there where those other people were. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americalet'sdolunch.org.
Welcome back to Bergen Stages Television. I have Emma Margee yes, and Matthew DeMarco here, and we're talking about Barefoot in the Park. We've learned a little bit about you guys and what got you there, but we were just finishing the first segment talking about your audition process. So was it nerve-wracking, or how did you feel about Matthew, how did you feel?
It was, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, it was kind of, it's a process that, if your experience you've gone through so many times, and so it's kind of like, you kind of already know what to expect. But yeah, I mean, I remember I knew I had to wait some time before I was able to finally go in, because with this show, it's like, so it's intimate, and so there's never more than like 4 people on stage or like 2 people talking at a time. So it's kind of like having to go quickly through all these people.
Sure.
but yeah, I just know I read for Paul. I read for a couple of the other male characters, and so yeah, it wasn't that long at all. I mean, I loved Ken from the start. You know, he was had such a good sense of humor.
And you never met him before.
Okay.
Mema, have you met Ken
No.
before? Oh, that's great, great. Yeah, he's such a teddy bear. Ken Bonifants is directing the show, and makes it such an at ease kind of feeling at
he's
his
made
audition. He just kind of knows that you to listen. And kind of talk to you and give you some ideas of what to do. Cool. So then you both got cast, and it's so funny to think of you singing Pink Floyd last night, and then know that you're doing Paul Branner. Very two different worlds. These.
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't see. Well, maybe towards the end of the play that Paul would be singing Pink Floyd, but I think at the beginning he's. So tell us about your characters. I guess I'm kind of putting words in your mouth. Tell me about Paul.
Well, I mean, like Paul. I don't know. I mean, I guess one way to like put Paul. I mean, I guess like from like line from the show. He's someone that kind of looks before he like walks or like makes a plunge or whatever, because he's very cautious. He's not as free-spirited as you might say like Corey is in the show. So I guess that's they kind of in that way they're definitely polar opposites in that respect.
He's a lawyer, a young
He's a lawyer.
Uh-huh.
He's a young lawyer who just married this woman. There's no telling how long they've known each other, but they recently moved into this very tiny apartment that Corey's in love with. But then once Paul sees it, he's kind of he's starting to have his doubts about like the living situation. He's kind of all right, I guess this is gonna have to do, and it's kind of just going through the ups and downs of
Good, we'll get into the plot a
relationship.
little bit, yeah. But Paul's just an interesting kind of conservative sort of guy there. Just kind of I like that he just
he's kind of he's to
puts
himself.
his toe in the water. He will never jump into the water. Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Emma, there's Corey.
Yes, there is Corey. She is something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's very bubbly, and I love playing her because I don't know. I was talking to Ken actually. He goes, I feel like I haven't seen previous productions. He says that people play Corey ditzy, but I don't necessarily see her that way. I think she's quite intelligent, but just such a free spirit. And I think
which is such a polar opposite, as you were saying from your husband.
Like willing to try poofla pie. And, she's crazy, but like yet grounded, I think.
Oh, that's interesting. And so she's like the eternal optimist in this play. I mean, she's just kind of always sees the good side of things.
Yeah. The bad side just doesn't exist.
It doesn't
does not occur to her. Yeah.
Why bother with it? Yeah, which obviously creates tension as the play goes along. So I love the set. Aaron Ingersoll has designed this set. It's a tiny apartment, and I think Paul saw an apartment, but he saw one a few flights down.
Yeah, no, the one that the show takes place in, he never saw.
He never saw it, and I think that's part of the gag of the show is that it's a 5-floor walk-up.
5 floors with a stoop.
With a stoop out front, so there's all this climbing to get up there.
There's that ongoing joke, throughout the show that it's just such a climb and that it's just the most inconvenient thing in the world.
So if and that's so Neil Simon. It's such a wonderful part of it is that he knows these brownstones in New York City that before elevator buildings and all this kind of stuff. Everybody just walked up, but hopefully you were on the 2nd or 3rd floor. But you get the top floor of the building, and when we start the play, it's empty, right? You don't have any. Your furniture hasn't arrived.
No.
So this is truly. How long have you been married? I can't remember.
6 days.
6 days. So you're newlyweds coming into this apartment, and nothing's there, and Paul's about to come home.
Yeah.
And what do you do? How do you make him feel this is a wonderful place?
I just sit on his lap, and I try to comfort him with that.
Look at me, don't look at the place.
Yeah. And I tell him that it's going to be beautiful. You just came home too soon, And then eventually it becomes beautiful, in my opinion.
Your mom comes to visit?
Yes.
And is she taken by the place?
Oh, she's being very kind about the place. She definitely doesn't think it's spectacular at all. But she's trying to
she's kind.
She's very
kind. You want, Corey. That's what you.
She's trying to make me feel like I did the right thing.
Oh, good. And then Paul comes in and finds out he's got a court case, right? Doesn't it start with you?
Yeah. It starts out. He's a up and coming lawyer, and so he finds out that he's got his first case, and that he's very hectic, and he wants to make sure that he gets it right, and so. It's like, and he got all these other distractions. He's got a home where it's like he doesn't have any furniture where he can sit and work. Yeah.
And then you find out you have this crazy neighbor.
Oh, like, yeah, crazy neighbors. Yeah.
Ian Schmidt plays Velasco, Victor Velasco.
Victor.
How was that?
He says Victor.
Victor Velasco. And he has an interesting way of having to get to his apartment. What does he do to get to his apartment?
He climbs on the landing outside of our window.
So he goes out your bedroom window.
Oh, he has to go through our bedroom, out the window, against the sky window, just to get to his attic apartment.
Uh-huh. Does he do that to avoid the landlord? Was there something about
I think he just can't get into his apartment.
That's the only way to get to the apartment is to go through that way.
Yeah, and he hasn't paid his rent.
I thought that was something that he was avoiding somebody.
Oh, yeah.
This was the best way to do it. So that's how you meet him, is he suddenly comes into your apartment before Paul has come home. And
Actually, I'm there. I'm just kind of like not very aware of what's going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
When
he's
he first
in the
arrives there.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh, who's this guy coming through the bedroom?
Yeah,
That's
pretty-
so
yeah,
good. It's
exactly.
coming back to me, but that's great. And that's what some of the charm of it. And then you decide to set up a date, don't you?
For my mother.
Your mother and this crazy guy that lives
Yes.
upstairs. And how does that go?
Well, I recently just moved out, just got married, and my mom is now alone. And I'm like, I want my mom, who's a little more similar to Paul, a little conservative and not as outgoing. I want her to live her life. I want her to have fun. And I take this opportunity to set her up with this wild guy on a blind date.
Good. And we won't tell any more of that. I don't want to give too much of the plot away, but that's getting us along the way there, so we kind of know what's happening in the play. So how's it feel working in the space, that lab theater, the little theater?
It's very nice. I mean, like, definitely getting used to the space in general. I mean, I honestly was pretty surprised seeing the progress that was made, like, by the time, like, we had our first rehearsal and how put together it was already. So it kind of definitely, let us have a feel for the space that we were going to be working in.
Because it's so compact, you can't, you just need to know that you're in a tiny apartment.
Yeah, exactly. And also just like the theater in general, like it's just, I love like working in those kind of like intimate theaters, especially, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And you did a director's lab in
And
there.
playwrights.
And playwrights in there. So you're used to that space.
Yeah.
But you've also done the Saccone, the larger theater. What do you feel is the difference between performing in those two different spaces?
It's different. I do like, I don't know, I do like black box, intimate, like I like Ender Hall Lab Theater a lot because, there's no mics, you're projecting, I think it's more raw than like the Saccone or like a larger theater.
Right.
Where it's a little more glammed up.
Especially for a musical, because
Yeah.
you've got to mic the musical over the pit that's playing.
Exactly.
So you have to do that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
you have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
But
So how would you tell him it's going to be, what to look forward to with this audience coming in?
every audience is different.
But I mean with being so close.
You're going to hear everything. You're going to hear those little remarks that his tie looks weird. Like you never know what somebody's going to say.
It's so intimate. And that's what I love about it too, but they're just really close and you just
it would just be the same as if you were to just put on a show for you right now, right here. It's exactly
this close.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
this
pretty
close,
much.
which I love about it, but you're right, it's very different than playing the larger space. And I think I love that opportunity we allow our students to hopefully work in both spaces
Yes,
so they can
it's
get
so
the
great.
feeling of, and I think most of our off and especially our off Broadway theaters in the city are the size of the black box, seating 96 seats or less. That's what they're known for. So it's great to have that experience because that's probably what some of our up-and-coming actors are probably going to work in the beginning as opposed to getting,
Yeah, I just did
I mean,
that.
I hope Broadway stages, but it'd probably be a black box theater to work in. Good. So, and you've been working with costumes. Has Marie Natali been giving you pieces to?
Yeah,
to
I mean,
work with?
it's been a lot of, at least from my experience, a lot of experimenting, kind of just seeing what works with what.
Do you like having that? I mean, to have rehearsal costumes?
Oh
Does
yeah,
that
I mean, it
make a
definitely
difference?
helps. It definitely, helps, add to, getting a feel in general for, what you can expect. It's, the theater like is pretty cool, like as at the moment, so it's nice to have, knowing how to like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like I just know like by the time the show rolls around, I'm going to be having several layers on, and we're going to have like lights on us. So it's definitely, for the better, getting to get used to moving around.
Do you find you stand different with you put your costume on? Do you find that's kind of happening?
I
shoes?
always find that whenever I have like a costume on, I transform into the character.
There it is. It just kind of adds that last piece
Yeah,
that you need
exactly.
to go, oh yeah, those kind of shoes. Those are different than my tennis shoes. Or
Yeah.
just kind of makes you do, just kind of perform a little different. That's why I think I love having them, the rehearsal costumes to work with there too. So what's going on in rehearsals now? You're still blocking.
Yeah.
We're about to block Act 3
KSSA. Tell our audience what is blocking. What do you mean by blocking?
Just knowing where the director wants us to move and what he wants us to be doing at a certain given point in time.
He kind of gives us the guidelines, and we have to use our acting skills from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's kind of got you need to be over here by then, and you got to be here. So
Yes.
it's just kind of a map to get to certain
Mm-hmm.
points of the play there, and then you just kind of fill in this
Fill in the blanks.
the blanks to get to those spaces along there, or if it's pour a drink or eat some food or something like that. So you go page by page, line by line, and do this.
Pretty much, yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that first part of that rehearsal process is just going through the play very slowly and picking it apart like that.
I think you'd be surprised though how quickly it can go sometimes, you know.
And you guys have. I've been coming over to your rehearsals and you're already gone. I'm going, what? But
yeah.
you did what you had to do. And so now where does it go? So you finish these blocking, and then what happens in this rehearsal process?
Learn the lines.
Yeah, just learn the lines, get get a good feel for what you need to be doing at what
Do you
point.
guys work with each other on learning lines? Will you do any of this sharing time as opposed to at rehearsals to say, hey, let's meet? And
We discussed starting that
Yeah.
just because we're still in the beginning process.
right, you're still in the blocking phase.
But definitely, I
Yeah,
think. I do
absolutely.
flashcards.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. It's just trying to find out. And then sometimes, especially you tour so much in the show with each other, just to run the lines with each other's is just, while you're eating dinner or something before rehearsal, to do that kind of thing there too. And then we get into the tech rehearsals. We'll get the lights, as you were talking about, Matthew. We'll get the lights to come in there. We'll get the sound effects, because there's a few sound effects that are happening. The set will be completed. I think the furniture arrives next week, so you'll have your furniture that you'll actually be using instead of these rehearsal pieces. Refrigerator, the stove, all the stuff in the kitchen. So it's kind of cool. And we have Dean Matson doing the wonderful sound job. Jared Saltzman, of course, is doing the lights, and Dan Conrad's doing props. And it's a proppy show. There's a lot of stuff you guys eat and drink.
Yes.
In the show.
A lot.
Yeah, we feed you a lot. There goes my budget. So Dan and Matthew Owitz, his assistants, will help get all this kind of stuff all put together for you guys there. And then it's opening night, which is coming up.
Yeah.
We open October 26th.
26th.
October 26th, so it's on a Friday evening we open. We will do the Friday 2 on Saturday, the 27th, then the following weekend, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, with a matinee and an evening on the 3rd. And that comes up so quickly there. Yeah. Are you enjoying the process? Are you enjoying doing the show now that you know it a little bit, Matthew?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just such an intimate show, so it just gives us the time to really get to know one another. I mean, we take a lot of time. I mean, we definitely, get a lot of work done, but we also make the time, to get to know one another and kind of,
Personally,
crack jokes.
just personally.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Do you have time to chat about your characters? Do you get into that yet? Have you talked about who Paul is and all those kind of things? Yeah.
I mean, I guess we all kind of have a pretty solid idea on what's expected of us, and so I think Ken definitely trusts us to know what to expect.
Cool.
And what he just wants us
Great.
how to portray these characters.
And Neil Simon hasn't disappointed you?
Yeah,
Not at all.
That's-
Yeah,
no.
you come in to do this sort of thing. Guys, I can't believe our time is up. This is just so
wow.
short, but it's so great to talk to you. So we have Barefoot in the Park opening on October 26th in the Interhall Lab Theater. Tickets are available online at tickets.bergen.edu, or you can stop by our box office in A130 and pick up tickets. It will sell out fast, I'm going to tell you guys. It is such a wonderful show, a very popular show, and so if you can get your tickets in advance, I would highly recommend that, because we only seat 96 in that little theater, and it's going to be packed. And I am so excited, Emma and Matt, for the show. Thanks for being on the show, and
you.
break a leg on opening night.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for watching, and come back and join us on Bergen Stages TV.